Hey guys, I'm Mark,
I'm Alon.
and welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Well, welcome once again, listeners, to the Next Man Up podcast. We're so glad you've joined us, and we are thrilled that you're listening in. In fact, we would even invite you to be part of the conversation. We've mentioned this on a regular basis, but if you want to hit us up with questions, comments, feedback, it's feedback@thenextmanup.com, or check us out on Facebook or Twitter at the Next Man Up 1 is our handle. And so I am pleased to be joined once again by my partner here, Alon Auguste. Alon, good to talk to you again, my friend.
You too, my friend. How's your day going?
My day's all right. It's all right. I've certainly had better. In fact, it's probably appropriate for the topic today that I'm feeling, man. I'm feeling.
Okay.
A little down, a little discouraged. The normal ebbs and flows of life, and so it's been a day.
Okay, man. Interesting. Like, feels. I think that's what the youngins call it today. They don't say feelings or emotions like they just say feels.
So that's the new thing, huh? Feels?
Yeah. Well, it's like, I got some feels.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. Let me know what them feels are. Like, what are you feeling? Am I even saying it right?
One of the things I like about working with you is you help me to feel younger and relevant, and like I'm in the know. I've never been the person that's in the know, and so when I'm around you, I feel like I'm at least somewhat in the know.
Well, okay, I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
It is.
But then the other part of me is like, well, it's not like I really want to be in the know. There's some things that I just don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'd rather be oblivious. But, working with young people every day, you gotta keep in their world so they keep you relevant and on your toes.
Yeah. Well, I can stay
awesome.
relevant and on my toes vicariously through you. So
that's awesome.
And
awesome.
And apparently I'm having some feels today. So it's appropriate because what I wanted to address with you today is this idea of helping your boy to feel his feelings, or helping your boy to experience his feels, I guess, in a more contemporary take.
Yeah.
And it's relevant and it's real time for me, and in fact it's bringing up some other thoughts and stories from the past that I'll get to here in a bit. But the real time inspiration for this topic today is a conversation I had with one of my sons over the weekend, and he's going through a difficult time. And there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of frustration, there's some things that he doesn't understand. Other people are involved, and so there's relationship tension. And there's some disappointment on his part for sure. And it's just it's a difficult time. And so, when I have an opportunity to talk with him, and he begins to express what he's experiencing, I always lean into that, because I feel like those are special moments, and I want to honor those and be there in that moment to help him work through what he's working through. But I began to sense something that made me a little concerned about how he was dealing with his feels. And I can't get into the specifics here, and the specifics don't so much matter. That would just be additional context. But part of his frustration involves relationships with people that are in some type of an authority position over him. And feeling disappointed in how some hard conversations that I encouraged him to have went down, and feeling like it happened the way I thought it was going to happen. And
Okay.
just this sense of, because I don't want the other party to feel disrespected or to feel frustrated or to feel disappointed in me, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm not going to express what's going on in me. And I'm just going to be quiet. And I will, these are my words here. I will just kind of grin and bear it and gut it out and just get through it.
Mm.
And so when I heard that, I started thinking, boy, this could be, it could be a scenario where he's just stuffing his frustration down inside. And at some point, it's going to rear its ugly head. Maybe tomorrow, maybe 20 years from now. But at some point, it's going to rear its ugly head.
Yeah.
And so what we were talking through was just this idea of it's okay to feel it. It's okay to sit in this and to feel the frustration and to put words around it, to label it.
Yeah.
And it's also okay to have the difficult conversation, to choose how you're going to show up, to choose how to act in difficult situations, regardless of what happens on the other end. Now, I'm talking about appropriate actions and respectful conversations and honoring the other person. But this idea of just stuffing it down inside because you think it's going to make the situation worse, well, it was concerning me a little bit. And so we had a great conversation. And it may not be the last one. He processes different than his siblings. And so maybe this will be enough. Maybe there'll be another one down the road. But I felt like it was one of those moments where I had to just invite him and encourage him to feel, to validate what he was feeling, but also not just let it stay trapped because there were other people involved or because he wanted to kind of shy away from another hard conversation that may be coming down the road. So this is a little bit emotional intelligence, a little bit leadership skills and development, a little bit of maturity development. But the trigger for me was just helping him to feel his feels and not just suppress them.
Yeah. I think what I found is that, like, I could do that well some days, and then some days I just can't. And there's and the days that I can't, I always think, like, the reasons why can be a number of things. Like, as I've like went through these years of being a parent, being a father, I can see, like, where, because maybe I wasn't able to contain in that day, or maybe I just didn't learn how to contain or hold somebody else's feelings or help someone hold their feelings correctly. My feelings would rise up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, so if as a parent, my kid comes to me and starts crying, their toy's broken, and I'm like, okay, well, let me help you fix the toy. And then they're just frustrated, angry, just going all over the place, And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm going to try to help you fix it. And then, like, they come back with, toy's broken. They're screaming and crying. And finally, I'm just like, you know what? Take your toy. Just go stay in the corner. And, like, then we blow up in the parents. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking,
right.
Like, an issue is that the toy is broken, or take the toy out and replace it with whatever you want. An issue can be something that's going on in life, or your child is hurt, or whether that's emotionally or physically, something didn't go right for them or whatever. And they come to us, and we as parents, we can sometimes not, we take that as the only issue. No, the issue is that they're feeling something. And there's an opportunity to sit with them in that feeling and to allow your child to be to express whatever they're expressing, and to let them know that you're a safe place to be able to do that with. That's hard, man. Some days
It is.
you know, and some days you win, some days you don't. I know anger and sadness, disappointment, some of those feelings are really hard for me, man. And some days I win and some days I don't. I think another piece that plays into that is like, am I doing all right inside to be able to hold my child's like feeling, to sit with them in a feeling. Like if I'm just full of anger, that's going to be really hard to help my kid hold his or her anger.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking about fathers and sons here. So like when I'm full of anger, or if I'm not healed in an area of my life, if I'm not doing well and my son comes to me, let me know or express to me that he's angry, I know I automatically will go to try to fix mode, you know? Well, you don't need to be angry. Look, that's such a dumb line.
Right,
like,
right.
You have a right to be angry, man. Like, I mean, that's a feeling. That's a God-given feeling. That's an emotion. And you're going to feel it. And so for us to say, you know, to our sons, you shouldn't be angry. No, I think that's wrong. I think maybe questions should be like, what are you angry about? And the statement of, it's okay to be angry. To say that this is a safe place to be angry with me, that's fine. That's okay. And I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm not going to try to, you know, be the dad who puts everything back together. I just want you to know it's okay to be angry, and then we can go from there. You know, those are important moments, but that one's hard for me, man. I'm gonna be really honest. That one's really hard. When someone's sad, if my son's sad, that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
sometimes I do good contain, sometimes I don't.
I think sometimes we go back to our own childhood and we hear our own father's voice, and then suddenly we take on that persona and we pass that on to our kids. And you know, I'm just thinking about some of the things that are just not helpful in the situation where your boy comes to you and says, I'm upset, or he comes to you crying, you know, like the man up statement. You know, we've talked about that in the past. Like, what in the world does that even mean? But the implication is that what you are experiencing right now is not man-worthy, so stop it. Or stop crying, or don't be such a girl, or don't be a sissy. You know, like all these things, maybe we heard them as children from our own fathers or father figures, and the moment our sons start to experience some of those same emotions, it becomes triggers for us, and we find ourselves just parroting what our fathers said to us. And you know, it's just it's so not helpful. So not helpful.
No. And so the question becomes, what do you do? And I for me, honestly, I'm on this journey, and I'll probably be on it. I honestly think I'll be on it for the rest of my life, because I think it's part of like our journey in life, and that's discovering myself and coming to a place of like understanding, plumbing the depths of self and healing the depths of self. You know, like for me personally, I can't speak for every other dad, but for me personally, I've gone through so much trauma that sometimes I don't even think of what are my triggers. Like, you know, like this trigger is basically what I'm saying, that I haven't even found out yet. I don't even know they're triggers. Yeah. You know, but from the ones that I have, like, come to find out, like I've pulled threads, and I've gone to the source, and I dug up stuff that from my family of origin, and I'm not just talking about like, heritage, talking about how I was raised and who I was raised by, and things that have been like, pushed into me, and pushed into my brain, and how I think and how I act and react. I pulled those threads, and I've come to find like that I don't have to be the way I am. You know what I mean? There's more to me than meets the eye, and I've gotten some inner healing, man. And from that, I'm able to contain. I'm able to be able to sit with my son and hold a feeling, and not blow up on him. At least not all the time. And I'm still working on it, man. It's, like I said, there's days that I win, some days that I don't. But it takes us dads doing that, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, we've had stuff beaten, not, and I'm not talking just physically. I'm just saying this stuff like drilled into us.
Right.
From day one.
Right.
And even whether it's by our fathers or other men or other people in our lives,
or just society, right? The messages that we see around us.
And they're subliminal, and they're bored in like worms, and they're deep within the recesses of our thoughts and our psyche, and what makes us who we are today. And I gotta be honest, man, that walking this out has been scary. It's been tough, but I'm doing it because I want my kid to be freer than I am.
Yeah.
I want my son. I want my son to be like more of a man than become more of a man than I ever will be. And the only way to do that is to plumb the depths of who I am and allow health to come to my thoughts and to my being. And the more and more I press into that, like the more and more I see my son walking out things better than I have, in the past.
Yeah.
But it's a hard road, man, but it's worth it.
No, you're right on. It's interesting. You mentioned a couple of things that take me back to that conversation last weekend. You mentioned the word trigger, and you also mentioned wanting to pass on the knowledge that you have gained into your son so that he doesn't have to spend 40 years to learn it.
Yeah.
He can learn it when he's 16 or 18 or 20 or whatever. I had a very similar conversation with mine, and in the midst of him talking about what he was feeling and frustration, this whole idea of trigger came up, and it took me back a number of years to my own story, where the last year or so in corporate America there was a restructuring. My last year in corporate America there was a restructuring, and I got shifted into a new role, and I went in with eyes wide open. I knew how the game was played. I get it, but it could not have been handled more poorly. And I thought I had worked through my frustration, my disappointment, my feeling of disrespect, a lot of the same things that my son was experiencing. I thought I had worked through it. And I'm 5 or 6 months in, and I encounter the CFO, the decision maker for that restructuring, at a social event. And boy, it was a trigger for me. I saw him and in person, and I had talked with him before, I'd worked with him before, but it was this in-person moment at that point in time. It was like the dam broke, and I felt all of those feels again, and it got in the way of me interacting well with him. In fact, I just basically avoided him because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this swell of emotion that just got triggered because I didn't deal with it well 5 or 6 months ago, and boom, here it is again. And so I had the opportunity to tell my son that story. I'm like, look, dude, you have 30 years of head start on me to be able to figure this out now. I'm in my mid-40s and I'm learning these lessons. I thought emotional intelligence was just not showing emotion. you know,
Yeah.
like keeping
Yeah,
it,
right?
keeping it stuffed and not letting it boil over. I thought that was being emotionally intelligent, and boy, how wrong was I?
Yeah. Same.
So now you've got the last 30 years of my life, all of that wisdom that I can share with you, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I've made. You don't have to
Yeah.
be trapped the way I was.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
listeners, my story. I had a great start, and I had all
Yeah.
kinds of head start, relative to some, including my co-host here. But
Yeah. Yeah.
this emotional thing, it's experiencing emotion, feeling it, and then choosing how to respond rather than just reacting.
Acting.
Some
Yeah.
of it, I
Yeah.
realize, is new science and new discovery that's come to the forefront. But some of it is just allowing men to be human and to feel the
Yeah.
things that everybody else feels, but for whatever reason, the male has said it's not okay to experience. Like I was thinking about this, Alon, the happiness and joy and excitement, that's an acceptable emotion, right? We see that when
Yeah.
with the bro hug, and we see that at sporting events, and we see it when guys have gone out and hunted a wild animal, and they've killed it. Anger seems to be okay because that's like an evidence of strength and
Right.
virility
Right.
and power. But when it comes to sadness, when it comes to frustration, it's like those emotions are off limits. And so, like,
Yeah.
how warped is that? And we got the benefit of hindsight now, right? And science and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll stop here. All I'm saying is that it was an opportunity for me to share my own story with him and say, look, you can do better, and you can do better a lot earlier in life than I did, and be better off for it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I that's 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 it. Dead on, man. It's so funny, man. We've done so well over these years and decades and centuries and millennia, like, of just painting that picture that certain emotions are signs of weakness, man.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
like why? Like, why does it doesn't need to be, And uh, uh I'm hoping for a day where it doesn't matter what emotion you feel. It's not weak. It's not weak to cry. It's not weak to be frustrated or feel confused or like we can name off like 5 main feelings, but there's hundreds of feelings.
Yep.
Hundreds of feelings. You know what I mean? And to be able to work through whatever you're feeling and to understand why and to dissect it and to press into it and to learn from it and grow from it. Like, man, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Like so the other day I woke up angry. I was just angry. Like, my wife even told me, she was like, "You're just angry right now." I'm like, "Really?" I don't know. I'm drinking my coffee and like she's like, "You got this look on your face that you're angry." I'm not really angry, and then I'm like, "No, like let's sit with that for a moment."
Yep.
And
Yep.
went to a place with myself and just like, okay, what's going on? Why are you angry? Why? Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Like, it's like, that's why you're angry. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, you feel angry about it, and you should be angry about it. Let's walk that out. And like doing that has been so helpful. I press guys, like fathers out there, man, be open and vulnerable with your son to show him how to do that, to be real, not to be stoic, like not to have him say things like, "Oh, that your dad looks mad." Oh, no, that's just how he is. That's who he is. He's stoic. He doesn't say anything. He never expresses any emotion. He's everything seems to be like in its place, and it's like, no, dude. When we know, like dads, like if you're like me, like, we could put a poker face on, but the truth is man, there's a lot going on in there that we need to process. And if we don't do it for ourselves, it won't be good. But if we don't do it for ourselves and for our kids, like they won't grow up knowing how to deal with emotions. And then one day he'll get hit with an emotion and it'll blow up his world.
Yeah.
It'll blow up his world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I read a book. Go ahead.
So I was going to say another thing, Mark, as I'm seeing is like, sometimes the reason why we don't deal with emotions or show emotions is because we fear the emotion that we're feeling.
Yeah, because it's uncomfortable.
We fear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. And that's hard too. And like, and if we, like, again, like our kids pick up things, man, if they notice that we shy away from feelings, and like they'll learn how to shy away as well, which will end up right back where I just said they'll land. You know what I mean? Dealing with emotions is great, man, and we gotta teach our kids that. We gotta teach our sons that. But anyway, you saying about a book?
Well, yeah, so a couple of thoughts. There's a guy in town here who is a kind of a networking guru, if you will. And he's fond of saying that networking is that professional skill that we're all expected to have, but nobody's taught. And as you're talking here, I'm thinking, we as males are all expected to have the ability to have the skills to work through or manage our emotions, and yet we're never taught. We're never taught how to do the work that you just did, which is, I'm feeling angry. First of all, acknowledge it, trust the wife's instincts, and admit that it's true. And then to go deeper into what is behind it. That's a tool that doesn't exist in many toolboxes for boys or for men. And it's a skill that takes some practice. The thing is, though, if you don't do that, then it ends up blowing up. And I was going to reference the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0. There's a quote in there by the authors. It says, when you don't take time out to notice and understand your emotions, they have a strange way of resurfacing when you least expect them or want them to. And I can only imagine, had you gone through the day feeling angry, what might have happened, or maybe the day would have been fine, and a couple weeks later it blows up. But
it's a ticking time bomb.
It is.
It's a grenade. It's a grenade with a pinfold, and like it might blow, might not blow, maybe.
All it takes is a trigger, right? All it takes.
Yeah, man. That's it, dude. That's it.
The other,
I want to suggest. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the other thought is, we talk about this idea frequently, redefining manhood and masculinity, what it means to be strong and courageous. The easy way out is to just not deal with it. The better way, the harder way, the more courageous, the more strong way is to do what you did, right? To name it, acknowledge it, and sit in it for a bit, and to help our boys to do the same. That's more strength. That's more power. That's more courage. That's more quote unquote manly than just stuffing it down inside and pretending that it doesn't exist and that it doesn't bother you.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Agreed. And can I add a piece to that?
Yeah.
I inviting your close friends and those who you really trust. I say this adding a piece, when I say trust, you really feel safe with, into that process. To be able to say, look, this is what I'm feeling right now, and I want to invite you in just to let you know this is where I'm at. That helps out so much. When I got a few friends who, man, I just know I can call on. A few guys, who just They know me in and out, like, and they won't let me. They won't let me hide behind a mask of everything is all right.
Yeah.
When it's not. You know what I'm saying? And I can call up and just be like, hey, I'm just feeling really frustrated right now. You gotta talk, or can we hang out or something, you know, and they sit with me in those feelings that I'm feeling, you know, and help me process and help me think through and how to address it, how to walk this feeling out in life, you know, and not let it overrun me, or not just shove it down and waiting for it to just blow back up through the earth, like, of my heart. Like, you know, having community to do that is seriously important. Seriously important. And I press that for everyone who's listening.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, and it's taking that courage and strength and you know, new manly behavior to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, and it's admitting it to somebody else that's a close friend. And boy, talk about taking a relationship to another level, right? That intimate friendship that you can have with somebody when you can be that transparent.
And it can't be everyone.
No, you're right. That's right.
Yeah. It can't be everyone, but it's what a way to do that, though.
Yeah.
What a way, like you're saying, to like, you know what, like, if we're really, really friends, like, we can walk with each other.
Yep.
And how like strengthening the bonds of friendship, like that will become, you know. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, I think the point of today's discussion was simply to invite fathers to do the work themselves, to create this tool in the toolbox for your boy as well, and to just continue to lean into a different definition of what does it mean to be a man, and you know, it is okay to feel the feels. So yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Man, good topic, man. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, well, and you know, we do this at the end of every episode, but it is genuine, it is heartfelt. You know, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your wisdom, your experience, and your transparency. It adds a depth and a richness to the conversation. You know, and look, we've got to live and wrestle with and model out these same things in our own lives, both as individuals and as fathers. Not that we've got it all figured out, but I think we're on a good path, and excited to be able to share some of that with the listeners. So it was good.
Absolutely. Likewise, my friend. Likewise.
All right. Well, listeners, thanks for being with us today, and we will catch you next time. Adios.
Adios.
Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. You know, we would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.